Kuva Nukor is the best Kuva weapon available. Yes, better than the Kuva Zar, the Kuva Nukor. This is just the best Kuva weapon, period. The Kuva Nukor is a secondary weapon that shoots out a beam of radiation. The Kuva Nukor is obviously based off of the regular Nukor, which is something you can easily get way before you get close to getting the Kuva Nukor. Now that the background is out of the way, let's get into some of the builds for this first. The Kuva Nukor has a base element of radiation along with the element you get from a specific frame you are running. That list will be shown on the screen now. In my opinion, toxin stats on these Kuva weapons are the best. Some weapons may be really good with heat, such as the Kuva Zar, however a weapon like the Kuva Nukor works best being focused on toxin, which is what I'm getting in this video. I have two builds for this weapon, a normal or killing build, as well as a primer build. The primer build, in all honesty, isn't that great. I thought I was doing it wrong, so I looked it up on other videos, and maybe it changed, maybe it didn't, but it didn't seem to do any better than my normal build. The way primer works is basically stacking as much elements as you can and pairing it with a melee weapon that has a high damage and the mod, condition overload. This mod makes it so that each status effect increases the damage on your melee weapon. So in simple terms, more status effects on an enemy, the larger your damage. I must have failed in doing this, but please feel free to correct me in the comments and try this out yourself. Now going into my favorite build, the normal or killing build. You can see I don't have as many status effects or elements on this. I have the main one I want to deal, which is viral. Viral is a great effect that deals the most damage towards an enemy and its health. Having a combination of viral and heat is great against heavily armored enemies. Corrosive can be good as well, especially on paper, but I found viral to be the best element, especially paired with heat. The regular Nukor and Kuva Nukor have not only a high base status chance, but it also has a high crit multiplier, which makes this weapon fantastic. Using this high multiplier to your advantage, you can have a high crit and high status weapon that can just melt any enemy. As you may see through these missions, I'm only using my normal build, which shreds through all of these enemies in the Kuva Lich missions. Now going into how to get the Kuva Nukor. The Kuva weapons come from Kuva Liches. The Kuva Lich is an enemy or a boss that has you go through many missions to unlock an order of mods on your Parazon in order to kill it, then kill it again, and finish it in a railjack mission. I'll describe this better as we go along through this section of the video, but first you have to get the Kuva Lich activated and pick your weapon. This is of course randomized. In order to get this activated, you have to do a mission that makes the Kuva Lich enemy spawn. The best and easiest mission for this is a capture mission called Cassini on Saturn. As you go through the mission and capture the target, you will have to kill as many Grineer as you can once your screen has a flicker. This is different than the Stalker flicker. This is a dark flicker that you can easily miss, so just play it safe and kill a lot of Grineer as you are going to extraction. You'll get the Kuva guard to appear on your screen, talking about the Kuva Lich. This then will make an enemy with the Kuva Lich symbol appear above it. Kill this enemy and you will see a weapon appear above it. If you like the weapon, in this case the Kuva Nukor, you will then select this target and finish it with your Parazon. It is important again to have the frame that corresponds to your elements. Again, I'll talk about this here in a bit. This activates the Kuva Lich, giving you a Lich with your weapon in the element that your frame gave it. Refer back to the list of frames and their corresponding elements and damage types. I will have this list appear on the screen again now. Now once you probably do this mission over and over again trying to get the Kuva Nukor to be the option you can select, you can now start the missions. These missions will start on Earth and have level 50 enemies, 50 to 55, and this will go up about 5 levels each time you move a planet. You will have to move to 3 other planets likely, and it will go to Mars, then Ceres, then Saturn, and so on to all the other Grineer planets. As I show you through this video, you will eventually get all 3 types of the Parazon mods you need. You have to kill the special marked enemy in each mission. They appear throughout every mission, and you have to finish each one with your Parazon. You will then have to do guess and check with these mods. Once you get your first mod, put it in the first slot on your Parazon and hope that it's the correct one once you use it on the boss. You can tell when the boss will likely spawn in, as it will show an emotion that it has when you click the Lich icon in your navigation or pause menu. If it is furious, it will likely spawn in the next mission. Deplete the shields, get the first health bar down, and you can strike with your Parazon. If your mod gets a slash through it, like mine did, this means it didn't work. With the guess and check, you will move to the second spot and wait to see what your next mod is that you unlock. You could continue killing the boss and checking the mods until you get all 3 correct. After this, it will move to the railjack missions, specifically the mission on Saturn. This mission is always the same: kill some fighters and then destroy 3 cruise ships. I show how to destroy the cruise ships in this video if you are confused. Then you go into the main ship and easily kill the boss. You then can choose what to do with it. I believe both give you weapons. I choose to vanquish it because I am scared of doing the other option. In all honesty, I don't know what it does. I don't want to try it. And now you just completed a lich and have a new weapon. Now that you have your weapon, you can collect it from the foundry and add it to your inventory. And once you get a collection or you accidentally did the wrong frame and want a different base element, you can do what I did. Once you get the same weapon, just with the element you want, you can fuse them. This can either give you a larger percentage of the element from the old weapon or the new, as well as giving you a lower one from the new or old. I got very lucky with my fusion, and the new one had a much higher percentage, which is exactly what I wanted. Now my Kuva Nukor has a high base toxin element instead of a low electric element. Now I showed you my crappy builds for them. I'm saying crappy because it's inevitable that someone in the comments knows more than me, is better at Warframe than me, and is going to talk about how shitty my builds are. Always happens. But I now showed you how to get it and that whole process. Now we just need to know what works well with it. As many creators for Warframe like to do, they like to mislead many beginners. I'm not going to do that, and I will explain how they do, which is also explaining what works well with this weapon. Frames. Specific abilities with specific traits to be specific. I said specific a lot there, but having a frame like Ash with the Seeking Shuriken ability paired with a special mod that gets rid of armor called armor stripping can make the Kuva Nukor seem so much better than it actually is. This is how many Warframe creators like to mislead beginners. They like to say, here's a weapon that's great, but they're also using their frame's abilities and maybe other weapons with a specific mod that makes another weapon better. People then say, oh, this weapon is great, but then it's not as great as they're showing it because they're using all of these things. The Kuva Nukor works great for all factions, don't get me wrong, but comparing an armored enemy to an armor stripped enemy is a huge difference, as I'm showing here throughout this video. You can kill an enemy in less than a second with the armor stripped. This helps any weapon, but definitely helps the Kuva Nukor with the setup I and many others may have on it. And, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, having a melee weapon with condition overload helps a lot too. I may not show the best example, and this may be more so of the Kuva Nukor helps melee weapons, but this is a good pair as well. Not as good as a frame that can armor strip and then shooting that enemy with this weapon, but nonetheless it is still a nice combination. Having a weapon that can deal a lot of status and have many elements on it, if it has the right base elements and build, can pair great with melee weapon built around condition overload. Other creators have perfected and spent a lot of time on this topic of condition overload, which I cannot. I'm having a hard time getting this video out in the first place. A lot of crappy shit that has made this video delayed, but let alone having the time to perfect this art of Warframe, which is kind of funny to say. Anywho, those are two main things that pair well with or help the Kuva Nukor. Again, the armor stripping is huge and will really get you ahead of the game if you have it and can use it efficiently. Thank you all 5 people who have stayed at the end of the video and have an attention span, unless you skipped through and are now accidentally listening to this part of the video. But anywho, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a comment letting me know what I messed up and dumb things I said. I will be sure to agree with you or reply saying, watch the video again. I hope you enjoyed and found this useful. I am planning on making this a series, and I will keep you all updated throughout my community page, so subscribe so you can see that. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.